I want to welcome everyone, first and foremost, to the Summit Implementation Review Group Ministerial. And I'd very much like to thank our Vice Chair, Foreign Minister Landa, for his partnership, and, of course, Secretary General Almagro for his leadership. I'm grateful to the representatives here of the Joint Summit Working Group for their efforts to actually turn our commitments into action. In June, we met in Los Angeles for the 9th Summit of the Americas. There, we adopted 5 core commitments to address big challenges facing our people, challenges that none of our countries can effectively address alone. We arrived at these commitments following months of consultation between our governments, as well as engagement with civil society, with youth leaders, with the private sector. First, we pledged to strengthen public health systems across the Americas, working alongside partners like civil society representatives, researchers, business leaders. We're focused on expanding access to quality, equitable health services, strengthening systems so that we can address challenges we face today and better detect and prevent future health emergencies. Second, we committed to the first regional agenda for digital transformation, improving access to the internet and other digital tools, especially for historically marginalized communities. That includes promoting digital literacy, privacy, and cybersecurity, and also accelerating the digital transformation in government services and using technology to make government more transparent. Third, we committed to accelerate the clean energy transition by cutting emissions and expanding renewable energy. We also pledged to help develop a responsible mining sector and strengthen the regional mineral supply chains that are vital to powering clean energy technologies. Fourth, we resolved to invest more in climate resilience to help our communities adapt to the growing effects of climate change, from climate-smart agriculture to sustainable fishing, and to improve disaster preparedness and response. We'll also help communities recover from droughts, from floods, and storms. Finally, we endorsed the Inter-American Action Plan on Democratic Governance, committing to promote and protect human rights, the rule of law, and greater social inclusion. We agreed to bolster transparent and accountable governance and combat threats to democracy from corruption and disinformation. The point of this morning's gathering is for us to report on the progress we've made toward realizing these 5 core commitments, to see where we can do more together, and to make actual plans for doing so. That's how we hold ourselves accountable and actually turn our pledges into action. In a moment, I'll suggest a calendar and working procedures for the coming year. The calendar sets out a schedule for developing action plans, convening subject matter experts, and reporting on our progress over the next year. The working procedures address logistics and outline the different roles and responsibilities for this group so that we can collaborate efficiently and effectively. But first, let me quickly share some of what the United States has done since we last met. For example, we're working toward a pledge we made in support of the first commitment, strengthening health systems in the region. In June, we announced that we'd join the Pan American Health Organization to train 500,000 public health professionals in the region over the next 5 years. That will dramatically increase access to health care for millions who don't have it and raise the quality of care for those who do. Last week, our Secretary of Health and Human Services, Javier Becerra, hosted a meeting with his counterparts from across the region to develop an implementation plan so that we can help meet the needs of countries throughout our hemisphere. We're also making progress toward the 3rd and 4th commitments, expanding clean energy and adapting to climate change. In the last few months, we've begun to implement PAC 2030, the U.S.-Caribbean Partnership to address the climate crisis, by teaming up with Caribbean partners and technical experts to create action plans on energy security, climate-smart technology, and global food security. Last month, Vice President Harris met with Caribbean leaders in Washington to review our progress. And we're working toward our 5th commitment, strengthening democracy, by investing in civil society. So far, we provided almost $2 million to RedLat, the Latin American and Caribbean Network for Democracy, to support civic engagement, including by helping civil society monitor countries' implementation of their summit commitments. Every one of these efforts is collaborative. Everyone is reaching across borders and across sectors. because the challenges we face are too big for any of our countries, governments, or people to solve alone. So it's critical that we continue to strengthen and expand these partnerships, and not just with federal governments, but also with mayors, with community leaders, with NGOs, with the private sector, with regional organizations. That's why the United States is hosting the first ever Cities Summit of the Americas in Denver next April. We'll bring together people from across the hemisphere, municipal and community leaders, entrepreneurs and academics, and indigenous and underrepresented groups, and we'll find ways to build on our summit commitments at the local level to make progress on the issues that matter most in our communities. As we move forward, we'll also lay the groundwork for the 10th Summit of the Americas. Foreign Minister Alvarez has recently informed us of the offer by the Dominican Republic to host that summit. The United States fully supports this offer. These are early days for our common effort, but we've already made concrete progress to implement the ambitious commitments that our leaders agreed to in Los Angeles. Now we just need to keep up the momentum. I very much look forward to hearing from colleagues about the areas where we're making progress, today as well as in our future meetings. And I look forward to discussing where we need to do more to build a strong, stable, prosperous, and resilient hemisphere for all of our people. With that, let me turn it over to Secretary General Almagro. Luis.